Hey guys, Steve Clayton here, and I wanted to give you some more information about some pretty exciting pieces of the Blueprint Project Black Edition that we really haven't talked a lot about because, I think they're sort of harder to explain what we're trying to do in a sales letter. But I think they're a pretty important component of the product and the service that we're trying to deliver here. Um, the goals of the workshops that we want to do, the live workshops, are at least the following, and we may add to this. But first of all, just going through project planning and forecasting, and in the first step, making sure that everybody has no barriers to entry, understanding how to kind of plan out their workload and plan out how to make things happen from the material and all that kind of good stuff. We just want to make sure that you have everything that you need in order to take action, essentially, and how to plan out that action. The next goal is to really work through an advanced conversion tactic workshop. The idea here is you get a store up and running, you get traffic, and maybe your conversion rate is 0.3%, or it's just lower than you want it to be, or maybe it's 1% and you'd like it to be 3%, which is what we'd all like, of course. But there's a lot of different things, tactics that we've been sort of collecting that we want to walk through with you in an interactive way and kind of present so that you can see our thinking in how we would attack that problem. Okay, because for most things, traffic, we pretty much know what to do there, right? But when it comes to conversions, I think it's a little bit more not complicated, but I think it benefits from a little bit more of experience. And so we thought, okay, that's a great thing to package into a workshop because it just lends itself to be that more kind of interactive training. Next up, we've got some advanced SEO tactics, and really what we want to do there is that there's this what I call this last 10% of SEO, and it's really critical. And I think we really want people to understand what it is. It's not necessarily complex, but it's sort of hard to explain what I mean by that. And so it's the perfect opportunity to really dive into a workshop. We also have an advanced SEO tool that we're going to deliver that is pretty darn exciting, if I do say so myself. And then finally, we've been collecting, especially from the forum, we've been collecting a lot of input from people to sort of say, okay, here's what I'd like to see you do, and we'll talk about that in a second. So workshop number one is going to be all about project planning and forecasting and making sure there's nothing in your way to make know that you've got all the material in sight. You know how to plan out your time so that you're going to make your site and take action on this material. And then we're going to dive into the over shoulder stuff. And as I said, we've been sort of collecting a lot of different ideas from people on the forum who've just said, okay, I'd like to see you and Dave walk through this. And so we're going to look at picking niches and sort of we'll throw discover niches up on the screen, and we'll kind of walk through how we would look at those and evaluate those, and we'll do it live and unscripted. And we'll do an improv case study. We'll pick a niche and then we'll go through it with Keyword Blueprint 2.0, and we'll talk about the different keywords and whether we think we can compete and what we'd look for in a catalog, and just the same conversations we had when we built these stores. So you really get a chance to sit there and ask questions and sit there at the table with us as we go through it. We'll go through our stats in a lot more detail of our sites, that you have something sort of compared to, and it'll sort of set expectations. And then we'll talk a little bit about how you can scale to be really large. Get 20 sites, or just talk about what issues are out there with that and what we do. Okay. Workshop number two is going to be all about, look, conversions are low, or they are what they are. Maybe they're not too low, but you'd like them to be better, because we'd always like that. So what do I do? And we're going to walk through just tons of different ideas and present those interactively and show you some examples and things like that. This last 10% of SEO in the third workshop is pretty critical, I think, and is not something that I've talked a lot about because it's sort of hard to explain, and so we've kind of struggled with how we might teach it. And it's really only required for that last bit of a push. If you're on position 5, it could get you to position 2. If you're on position 3, it could get you to position 1. It's often the difference of being in the top 5 and being number 1. So it's pretty important, right? But so unfortunately, it's about 90% of the work, which is why we don't do it a lot either. But it's it's pretty critical, and it can be a huge weapon that you have in your arsenal. Okay, so it's easy to learn, it's hard to master and implement. And by the time we get to this workshop, your sites should sort of be ready for this kind of a tactic. Okay, and then we'll also be releasing our bonus software that we don't want to talk too much about right now because we really need that workshop about what it's trying to accomplish in order to tell you what it is and what it does. But essentially, it tries to make that 10% easier. Other products that are on the market, there are very few of them, maybe one or two, and they are hundreds of dollars per month. Okay, subscription fees, and because they're so valuable, right? And it should come online right about the time when you can use it most effectively. Bottom line is, again, we haven't talked a lot about this, but I wanted people to understand what's coming because we really have this small dedicated group where because we're not going to be selling Blueprint Project Black Edition again, and so we've got everybody together. We've got them together at the same time, at the same point of having all this material, and we're going to use these workshops to sort of shepherd you through the process and be there with you. That along with our go no go forms really makes us kind of a consultant for you. So hopefully you'll take advantage of that. And obviously we're going to record these if you can't attend them live. So we're committed to your success here. I hopefully that's the message that you're getting. This is thousands of dollars, frankly, worth of additional material that we want to deliver to you. Please, please, please join the forums and make your voice heard about what you might want to hear on these webinars. We're listening, we're looking, and we are going to react. And since a lot of this is going to be improv, because that's kind of what we're trying to accomplish, we should be able to respond pretty quickly. And the schedule for these will be coming out shortly. After we close, we'll be getting over to the schedule and publishing that and getting ready to deliver these. So we'll speak to you then.